troops and people will be more excited. But it's hard to get people excited about another county, especially up until now. People were leaving our jobs to go work the same job in another county because they paid more than we did. And we're catching up a little bit better. But that's important.
And the reason I asked the question to them about the retail is that based on, I'm in a very low income, but I can see my way in taking my savings and putting it into a retail investment. I'm not going to buy a corporation. I'm not going to buy a company. But I can see me investing into a restaurant or a retail or something that's feasible for me. So I got my big thinking and my big ideas going on too. But if I can't sit at the table, then I don't know what I'm getting into. And at the end of the day, I'm going to be stuck with whatever the big guys decide.
Any more discussion?
Are we talking about when we pass this, that 150,000 goes tonight, or we're gonna do it in two parts like we did?
Well, it's really already in the budget. We've already.
Yes.
I think we're only budgeting 50, which I think there's gotta be a motion to amend, but that was actually at your request, if I remember right. I hadn't had a chance to go back, but I was thinking we said 50, and then we were gonna come back and amend it if we needed to.
We were gonna do part of it out of the general fund and part of it out of the economic development fund, which I think wasn't it a split?
I noticed in the budget, there was a line item for $100,000 for economic developments. I don't remember where.
Yeah, but I thought we was talking about doing like a split. I'm just asking, are we doing the whole thing tonight?
On the resolution,
If you read
$50,000.
Tonight.
But the resolution isn't authorizing the payment. It's really authorizing the mayor to sign the contract.
Okay,
To enter into contract negotiations.
Contract said to pay right with the signing.
So my question then will become, what bargaining, if we give 150,000 tonight, we agree to that. What bargaining tool do I have to get him or anybody else to actually say, I will bring jobs, work for jobs to come inside the city limits of Camden? If we do this, you take away my bargaining chip, my way of getting, because this agreement being what it has been, people have questions about OPED, people are wondering about OPED, and I need some bargaining power, and money seems to be that thing that helps us do right. And I'm saying that if you would give me some time and work with me on an agreement to bring jobs specifically to Camden. If it can't be done, it can't be done. But if it can be done, we need to make sure that the person driving this ship is saying, I'm fighting for Camden. I bet you. I had a meeting last week with an individual who told me in no uncertain terms it would make more sense for Camden to take its money that we've given to some of those places, they get money from the state, and make this a place where people would want to live. Make this a place where people would enjoy the quality of life. And I'm saying that to them, if you got an $80 million company, $250,000 may move you, but it's like a drop in the bucket. Their companies, their citizens, their businesses right here closing. And we need to find out ways to help those businesses or entice new businesses to come into some of our empty buildings. If we give this money, I'm saying to you, I lose some of the bargaining power to say, bring jobs here and let Gene Hill and Mr. Nixon work diligently to bring more jobs to Calhoun County.
So is your pitch that you want us to give you $150,000 to spend as you want to for your economic development plan?
That wouldn't be my pitch, sir. I appreciate you going to the extreme. However, I'm suggesting that with the $150,000 being available, we can negotiate the contract to say what percentage of this has to go toward making businesses either better or bringing businesses in. And that is not articulated in the $150,000. And if I were to ask you specifically about the $150,000 last year for the numbers that you could present for the jobs created last year, or $150,000 for the jobs created in the city of Camden the year before, I think some of us would struggle with giving me numbers and data. So I'm saying I have bargaining power with that money that I don't have without it.
Is there a, and like I say, I'm still on the low end. Is there a problem with investing in retail here because of competition? Competition is a good thing. It lowers prices.
I'm gonna,
Is that the problem with retail?
you remember the time we did the retail thing and the voodoo we got into and how it got used and how quick they did away with it after, because it gets into pet projects and pet rocks of who's gonna get this money that's gonna qualify for.
And I wasn't a pet.
Huh?
I wasn't one of the pets.
Well, I understand, but I always say, that's what it got, the way it's gonna get shuffled around is who's in charge of divvying it out to their friends, and so that's why I'd say, after they saw how it got, two things got done with it, they said, eliminate that, we're gonna take that off the table, that's gonna just create problems.
All right, but we back to they.
Huh?
We back to they. You were saying they said, let's take this off the table.
We did.
I did.
You were here.
No.
We passed,
If you go back and watch the voting on most of your OPID and agreements, there's always been one vote just about against.
well, all.
And what I tell you, I'm only one vote.
This council voted to have a retail development initiative, okay? And I'm trying to think, anyway, I went through it with the mayor the other day. We can have a committee meeting on it, and I can bring you a whole bunch of history about how that.
I know the history here in Camden.
And what we, because they wanted us to pay for it, and a deal that they worked up, and anyway.
I got a question. You mentioned the different tiers and you on the second level tier. I mean, you got like a 2-year, 4-year term that you gotta finish up on this second year, or can they amend some stuff, like we amend stuff all the time and put you up here where you can be at the table and
Technically, am I on the executive?
I'm asking.
I'm asking too. Technically, have I moved to the executive yet?
I don't know if we stand here right now.
Okay.
I would say you're the ex officio for being mayor.
Technically, would the mayor be on the next level
Be
yet?
on the executive committee, Mayor, and that has been the past history. The issue is, we haven't had a need to call the executive committee of OPED together to act on anything. That's why you haven't been notified, and the executive committee is acting as a prospect committee meeting now. Every prospect that the state brings to me, I don't call the whole group together. That's dictated by what the state wants and what they direct me to, and some of these things are fast moving. I have like maybe a day or two to get prepared and figure out who needs to be there. So I'm gonna be totally honest with you. You're not gonna meet every prospect that comes to town. That's not necessarily my choice. That's a direction and a dictate that's given to me by the state office.
Yes, sir.
So the state office won't allow the city mayor to be involved or just know about, not so much as to have a say, a yay or nay, but to know about the things that might be coming or have a possibility to come?
Alderman asked you that information, it would fall under my direction to inform the mayor as well as the executive committee what I'm working on. Everything that we work on, or I in particular, I'm entrusted with a lot of confidential information on some very, and there's reasons why those companies don't want that information, made public. So all I'm saying to Mayor Lott is, we haven't called an executive committee meeting together since he's been mayor. You never know, we might have a need to meet on one next week.
But would it be the position or the standard at OPED that now that he is mayor, that he would be part of that executive committee?
In my opinion, I don't have a problem with it. That's been the
Practice.
that's been the practice in the past.
Right, that's what I was thinking,
Yeah.
so.
So I look forward to those.
In regards to the confidential nature that he has mentioned of some of these prospects, our company occasionally works with OPED on some of these presentations, and every single one of them, I have to sign non-disclosure agreements. I understand why he says he cannot discuss some of the prospects that come to Camden publicly. I am familiar with why he says he cannot discuss those particulars.
That is correct, and we require all of our board members to sign a non-disclosure agreement, because at different points in the process, they will become aware of what, it may be Project Blue, or Project Pink, or Project, Diamond, or whatever. The projects are assigned a code name by the state, and usually the director is the only one that knows the intimate details of the project until it's time to share it with the executive.
I think I don't have a problem with what he's saying about disclosure agreement. That's in all businesses.
Right. But I don't mind signing one like he signed, if he can trust me to do what I'm supposed to do. He allows him to sign it as a business entity, right? That's what he just said.
Sure.
So, what, is he more trustworthy, or is it, what I'm saying is, if he can sign it to do and fulfill his job,
Right.
can I sign it to
Can you
do
sign one too?
and fulfill my job? As mayor, I'm asking specifically not to be asked to sign an agreement after you guys have already made the agreement or have already done all of the haggling. I believe I'm trustworthy, and we can go to lunch and you can get to know me better. But to start out, you have to take my word that in this particular position, I want to be a part. I won't learn economic development signing the papers. I've got to actually be a part of some of the things that are going on to learn how to do some of the things that I need to do in my job. I'm asking you to consider me, and with the people at the state level that do economic development. If you'd be so kind as to introduce me to some of the people without the prospects, but to some of the people, and maybe they'll say, well, he may not be such a threat. You can let him come and ride with us, or he can ride in his own vehicle. And if we do it that way, to just give me a start, just see if I break confidence with one that you can start with. And if I break confidence, then we come back and you don't do it again. But to give me a start, I would like to be a part of learning economic development and growing with the city.
I want that, and I welcome that, and you'll have the opportunity to do that. It's just the opportunity hasn't presented itself this early in your administration.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think I was speaking specifically of Friday, not to go with, but to know that we were being looked at. We've been assigning our guys to sweeping neighborhoods and to doing certain things, and if I know that somebody's coming in, I would be willing to give an extra sweep, wouldn't we? We give an extra sweep to wherever, if we know somebody's coming to town, we'll clean up extra special for them.
Trust me, Mayor, when I need an extra special cleaning, I'll let you know, because it's been done in the past.
Yes, sir.
But in this particular case, I didn't, it was fast moving and it wasn't necessary.
Well, let me address one little other issue now, because this is kind of different from what I remember. I was asking you about this contract for services, if it was really the same contract we've been using, okay? In this one, it says that we'll make the payment upon execution of the agreement. And I'm trying to think, I don't believe we did that last year. We had two different times that you came and requested funds. So I was gonna say, let's go back and just check and see that this really is the same. Maybe we just didn't do it right last year, which is sure.
All right, what's the
That's
motion?
what we addressed that.
Okay.
You made two different payments, you
Right.
had two different contracts. We had
Two
a
different
contract with each, I had to have
Okay.
a contract for every payment that's made.
Did he get it out?
And they were done the same way,
Right,
okay.
and that's one contract I'm fine.
Okay, I remember budgeting twice, but I didn't remember.
They came back and got some.
Contract. Okay.
We have discussed a little long, will you tell me where we are?
We have a motion and a second to approve the resolution.
Motion and second, and we're still in discussion. Are there any more questions, any more discussion? Well, at this time,
I'd like to table this until I can get some more definitive answers on how we're gonna do this, whether we pay it tonight or tomorrow night, or what's gonna be done, or somebody needs to sit at the table.
Let me say from my, I
And you got your
would
opinion.
support you with that if we have not a council meeting, a committee meeting. And say,
That's fine.
let's beat this thing around and decide where we're gonna go.
I'll agree on that.
So, I'll second your motion to table it. I guess, would that be in order?
Yes, I have a motion on the
So
floor.
you can either say, I'm tabling it to a specific date, which would be to March.
No, I didn't say a specific date. Until we table it, until we get better discussion.
That's correct. Or that's just two ways of doing it.
Right.
I want to be sure.
We'll have a committee meeting and decide some of these little issues, see where they work out.
But we don't wanna go too long,
No,
that's what I'm saying. I mean, if he's got somebody that he's looking at or we're doing, I don't wanna wait. I mean, he's not a magician, he's not gonna just,
The difference would be, well, obviously with a definitive date, if it was tabled until next month's council meeting, then it automatically comes back up. If it just says a motion to table, period, it is brought back up when it is introduced by the mayor or council member.
right.
So it could be next month, it could be on a special meeting within a week. It just means someone has to say, I want to bring this back out and reintroduce it. But it doesn't automatically show up next month at a certain time, it just means.
Until it's brought back. So I would hope that we could have a committee meeting and bring it back up at the March meeting.
I'd love to expedite it.
do we need to set the date for that, or just keep?
No, the motion is just to table, which is fine. I just want to be clear, there are two ways of doing it. It can be indefinite, but indefinite doesn't mean a longer period of time necessarily. It just means indefinite, could be a week, it could be next council meeting, but it's going to take somebody saying, I want to bring it back on the agenda. So his motion is just a table.
And his is the second,
So,
all right? What's the next one?
Vote on.
Vote on.
All right.
This discussion on the motion to table.
The discussion on the motion today,
I feel better with it if we had a date on it. I don't like the idea of tabling something forever.
but you can bring it back.
You can bring it back up at the next meeting.
But we'll
And provided I remember to submit it in writing a week before the meeting.
we're getting ready to discuss
I mean,
that.
I had stuff thrown at me today. Did the rule we passed not count?
Nope, not for us.
You know, we,
my sincerest apologies. These are given to the office, and we've been trying to do the best we could. to get them out.
Well,
So
that's-
some things
we're trying to
were corrected
explain.
3 and 4 times, and some of it was through legal counsel.
that's
So
what we
did
were
the
trying
best
to
we could.
explain to you last month, when you were putting this in place and trying to create the rule, that it was really kind of unfair to us, that you could do this to us on a regular basis, and yet you want us to have everything submitted in writing a week before the meeting to make others happier.
So let me say one
May
thing
I?
before you.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, these that say introduced by the mayor, that's form. That's not necessary.
Oh, I
Everything you
understand.
see isn't my saying.
I understand.
It's saying that I have to introduce it.
Right.
Okay, so when you said
Yeah.
you, it's
No, no, no.
generic. It
I
can be
meant-
any of us who are
Right,
bringing
yeah.
the bills. But
You
that wasn't me.
encompasses everybody up here.
Yes, ma'am.
The reason we asked for the extra time, not only to make sure they're written correctly, but once we get them written, they have to go through Michael to be approved. And the sooner we get them to him, the sooner he can get them back to us. And with things coming in Tuesday night, and there were several that came in Tuesday evening, hit the deadline. So Michael didn't get a chance to look at them until Wednesday night or Thursday.
Thursday afternoon.
So, and then he has to figure out what's wrong with them and fix them and get them back. And then corrections or amendments or whatever are made, and then they go back to him again to make sure they're legally correct before they're presented.
All this to
And
make my
that's-
point, I want a date on tabling this, not just throwing it out there. All these things come together and make it almost impossible to slip it in at the last minute for a councilman. I prefer there be a date.
Marvin, would you amend your motion to table this until
The next
March
meeting, the March meeting.
I'll second your amended.
Thank you both.
Amendment.
The motion to amend is now the motion already for discussion.
We amended my motion,
Amended your motion,
yes.
all right? Now, are we ready for discussion? Now we're ready to vote. Those in favor, use the voting sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
And that's gonna be a vote,
That's for the amendment.
that's just for the minutes. I still think we need a motion to table.
Now the motion to table it
Until the next meeting.
until the next meeting, March the 12th. So moved.
Second.
And second. All right, Chief was my, Mr.
And I do want to say, Treasurer Green did point out that the 150 is in the budget. There was 50 from the general fund, as we call it, 100,000 that economic development fund, but the 150 is in the budget.
Is there any other business before us tonight?
Well, I'd like to raise some just a little bit, and I really could hope that I couldn't make that Tuesday deadline to get a thing in there, but Marvin, I'll say Marvin, I don't, who claims responsibility for the pay raise for the, I forget which set of workers that you get, the 419 that we passed last month?
Public Works?
For the public works, and as far as I'm concerned, it was a scam, because it was written up like everybody else got an 8% raise, and they did not. And I didn't have time to go job by job to do it, but I'm gonna give Marvin a chance to make an honest man out of himself and vote for everybody else to get the 8%. If I counted the numbers right, and I was gonna wait until next month to see, to get Jim to help me out and say, okay, who did, who didn't? But if I counted right, there would have been one person at the district court probation office that didn't get an 8% raise. They were in that category that was in that 0 to 4%. One person in the public, public administration, one person in finance, one person, the municipal building guy would only get the 4%. One person in code didn't get the 8%. I think if I counted right, there's 17 in the police department that did not get the 8%, or the 15%. One in the fire department and one in public works administration that would all been in that lower category. The only people in that budget that we originally did that got 8% were the people that were at minimum wage that had to get 8% to make it legal. Okay, to reach the minimum wage. It took that, there was a handful of those, but not very many. So I'm saying, hey, if we're gonna treat everybody the same, let the rest of these folks get their 8%.
Yes.
And you can correct me, Mr. Green, if I'm wrong. I think the intent of Public Works was, for example, if the individual got a 4% at the beginning of the year, it was an additional 4 to bring them to 8.
Right, but they got a full 8, and these other people were just getting 0 to 4 if they were in these categories that I was naming off. I think I'm right. If I'm wrong, show me I'm wrong, but if I'm not, they'll get the same treatment.
In the other department.
And it was already above me.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
That's what we said the first time.
Well, it's not, well, no, that's 15%, I think.
All right.
But anyway, like I say, Mr. Green, I think everybody ought to get the same thing. If that was good last week, I thought it was crazy, but got 5 votes.
Other business?
I thought that's how the democratic system worked.
I got a call about,
Give it to your friends and leave the others.
Oh, no, we didn't go there now. We didn't go there now. That's what the 150,000 about.
Yes, sir.
some streets I got called about for, the street department to look at, being real bad, holes and busted up at Bower and Sim Street, right there in the curve, they said there's a big hole.
Buyer and Sims Street have big potholes.
And then on Mount Holly Road at Sims and Scott Street, it said it's all buckled up.
Sims and Scott on Mount Holly Road. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
We got a stray dog problem in my ward. We got some calls, West Camden Heights on Glassell. A couple of dogs out there. Workers can't get to their vehicles to get to work, and they're camping out on porches. Elderly people scared to come out the house. And also, right down the street here, 515 Madison, Double Church. Stray dogs hanging around there, chewing up on the carpet on the outside, on the step leading into the church. But I got calls about those two places.
I'll have to apologize, I'm in between animal control officers right now, I don't have one, if they come aboard, and we'll take care of the problem.
Thank you.
We're ready for you. I do want to mention that for all of those who have served the public on President's Day at 9:00 a.m. at First Assembly, they're going to be doing a prep breakfast for persons who may be interested in coming. People who serve, and anybody's welcome to come. Okay.
Anything else?
Is there anything else?
No.
Any other business? I'll take a motion.
I move that we join.
Meeting adjourned.